Yeah.
All right, any given Sunday sports special. It's your boy Jesus. I got my man Steve. I got
Oh
Anthony
yeah.
with me, and I know Steve is real hype right now. I know Steve is real hype. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Oh, I'm cheesing, man. I feel great. I feel great. I can't wait to get into the show. I can't wait to say my mind. I feel fantastic right now.
So, all right, go ahead, get to it, Steve, because I know you got some stuff to say today. Go ahead, man. The floor
Oh,
is yours.
I most definitely do, sir. But we will start off with carry on my wayward Johnson putting up 118 points. They played Jet Suck, who put up a buck 36. Jet Suck moved to 2-2. Carry on my wayward Johnson fall into 1-3. Jesus, what do you think?
Um, this was a tough one, right? Because he scored 118 points. You deserve to win if you score 118 points. You really do. You guys are gonna notice this is kind of a theme this week. Score a lot of points, still lose. This is one of them. Yeah, man, it was brutal. Pops on the other side. I mean, we projected Pops to win, but just not in this fashion. Julio Jones, no touchdown, but he did give you a lot of yards. So props to
Mm-hmm.
him. And again, that's what he's more than capable of doing. Zeke Elliott went berserk, but again, I'm still very concerned of this team because Zeke isn't going to give you 29 every week. Julio's not going to give you 17 every week. Packers defense is certainly not going to give you 23 every week. So unless Aaron Rodgers kicks it into gear, which there's no signs of showing that he is, I'm concerned. On the other side, Dom is just refusing to make moves, and I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this rut unless he makes a trade for, i.e., a quarterback. He needs to make a move, and he just seems like he doesn't want to. So I'm just curious. How's that going to work out? What you got, Ant?
I think I'm actually okay with Stafford right now. I think that offense is really starting to turn itself around. It was a good matchup against Dallas, and even though they lost, he still put up 24. I think with the upcoming games, it's still not a bad matchup. Maybe you can find an improvement at quarterback. But Kamara had an outstanding game. AJ Green did with 13. I think that's a really good effort. But on the opposite side, I said you have Packers defense going for 23, Ezekiel Elliott for 29. You're not expecting that from week to week, but you didn't really get much from the bench. But again, you're expecting Edelman back soon. You're expecting Ingram back soon. That should make a huge difference. Mixon should be back whenever he's healthy in regards to the injury. There hasn't been any clearance as of yet, but he's another guy you can put in there soon. I think it's just a good week by Pops. I mean, Dom really shouldn't feel bad about losing. Like I said, 118 is a hell of a score to have. Even though, he probably would have had a little bit more if Tyreek Hill would have showed up, but that game didn't go the way he was expecting to. It was a good pickup by Kerryon Johnson. He seems to be the guy getting the job done. Maybe with the quarterback, maybe you are right. But I mean, 24 is nothing to scoff at. And I mean, on the opposite side, I mean, at this point, you should have some kind of word by Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he is great and terrific at what he does, but there's something hammering him about that injury, and it's just really uncertain as of right now. But 136, 118, it just, I mean, that's all he really needs said about it. It's a high scoring game. Dom did show up. 118 is a fantastic score. This wasn't enough this week. I mean, hold your head up. I mean, you lost 3 in a row, but hopefully you pull through this week. But we'll get to that when we get to the matchups.
Real quick, I just have to make one correction because normally Anthony would be right in this case, but this is one of the rare weeks that this actually was not the highest scoring game. We'll get to that later.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to spend a lot of time. You know what? Okay. All right, let's make an agreement now. Let's all just give out, once we get there, we're going to give our fast break 3 minute what was going through your head at that moment. Once we get to the game, we all know what that game is.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure we all got something to say.
I bet we do. All right. Real quick for me, it came down to defense. Pop's defense showed up. That's what won him the game. Other than that, it's concerning for both teams. I'll be very honest. I think both teams need to work on their roster. But Pops was able to pull it off because of that Green Bay defense. So props to him. All right, our next game we have. We'll go to the Daytona Daunting Ducks, putting up a buck 8 against a slightly punty vibe 101. The vibe falls to 2-2. Daytona gets their first win. I'll start with you, Anthony. This is tough. What do you got to say about this, man?
I don't. I was going to feel horrible about the game, but I think things didn't break in my favor. I mean, the guys that needed to show up did. Rivers, Johnson, Hopkins. I was definitely expecting more against with Michael Thomas against that Giants defense, but as you can see with the game before, a lot of the points definitely went to Alvin Kamara. He had 3 touchdowns, a lot of yardage. Like I said, we had some issues at tight end. Ingram being out, but Ebron came and had a score. Flex spots were a little bit iffy. I thought Phillip Rivers would have had another connection with Mike Williams because that was going on the past couple weeks, but that just didn't happen. We actually broke pretty good, even at the quarterback spot. Brady put up 24. Thielen had a really good game, and so did Giovanni Bernard. It was really kind of, if you look at it, like the difference between like the kickers, that's 16 there and 11 there. So that's a 5-point difference. And Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, there's another 5-point difference. So it's nothing really feel bad about me personally. It's more in the sense that just wasn't a week. A couple guys that I would generally not even worry about or expect to have a problem with just didn't show up. I'm not going to like knock the Daytona Dawn Ducks. They got the job done. You worried about me breaking 100? Yeah, I did barely, but I got across there, but it was a tight game. I'm not going to knock the guy. I think he did a terrific job. He came back, got his first win. Congratulations, Jose. I tip my hat to you, but gentlemen, what do you think?
I'll go on this one real quick, Jesus. I think this was it was a very close game. I think it came down to really two guys on your team, Anthony, that normally do show up, like Michael Thomas. I thought Michael Thomas was going to have a humongous game. He didn't, which I think ended up costing you the game because everywhere else, and even with Mario Williams, like I get why you put him there in the flex. I did the same thing in another league thinking he was going to get the targets. I mean, that's one of those ones where you chalk up to, the trend was telling you one thing and then you actually do it and it turns out to be another. So, but to the other side, Daytona, they did well. They did enough to win. Giovanni Bernard was really the reason why they won this game. But again, I just don't think that's sustainable. So it makes sense that they would get the win for this week. And congratulations to them. Jesus.
Yeah, I told you guys this was gonna be their week. I felt it, and that's exactly what they did. They came in, they took care of business. Do they have a problem at tight end? They absolutely do. Gio Bernard, that trade, it was huge for them. That's the difference in the game right there. They don't make that trade for Gio Bernard, which everybody looks at it and they're like, well, why did he do that trade? Why would he trade Funchess for Gio Bernard, who's not even a starter? This is why he did it, because he needed a win. He loses that. He starts out 0-4. It's it's a tough hill, to climb. So he gave himself a shot. He lives to fight another week. That was the reason for it. On the other side, David Johnson is starting to wake up. He's starting to heat up. Phillip Rivers is starting to do his thing. Hopkins is. Michael Thomas, this is not something normal. He'll be back. He'll be back to his normal self. As far as Mike Williams goes, this is unfortunately what happens with a young receiver, right? He didn't play much his rookie year. So you're going to have these up and down games. There's not going to be that consistency, which is why he's considered a flex.
Yep.
He's a talent. He has the talent of a number 2 wide receiver in fantasy, but because of the fact that he's going to go through these growing pains, it makes him a flex position. I'm not too concerned with Anthony, but I am going to be honest. If Anthony does lose this week, I think I'm going to have to sound the alarm. But I'm going to give him one more week before I do that. But because he did drop 100 points. And at the end of the day, you drop 100 points, you deserve to win. He did deserve this game. Unfortunately, just the other team just deserved it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Should we wait, or what do you guys want to do?
It's your call, man. You're running the show.
No. Well, wait, so that was we got.
Yeah, we're between two games. I'll let you guys decide which one you want to talk about now. I mean, the game of the week is the one we usually wait for last, but it's up to you.
No, we can get that one out of the way because that was the slaughter. Let's just breeze through that.
All right. So the slaughter that Anthony is referencing to is Slap Sauce putting up 71 points against the New York Powers, 128 points. Yes, that's the slaughter. Jesus, I will start with you, sir. Since you won this game, how do you feel?
I'm happy. We're 4-0. We're hitting on all cylinders. I think I'm making pretty good coaching moves too, and GMing. I'm making good GM moves, but that I'm usually pretty good at is the GM part of it. It's the coaching where in the past I've had issues, but I think last year I've proven I could overcome that, and I think I'm proving that again this year. I think Steve, and don't worry, I'll make my apology when your game is up. But I do think you owe an apology to Mr. Sonny Michel because when he was traded to the New York Powers, you actually specifically stated that the New York Powers took a L on that trade. I did. I think Sonny Michel has proven that, he actually is something, and he's something really, really good. I am a little bit concerned with Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown. You know, thinking big picture, trying to think ahead. This is getting a little bit concerning. Antonio Brown, his connection with Big Ben is just not there. Yes, he's putting up double digits, but it's not the Antonio. If you watch the games, they're not on the same page at all, these two guys. On the other side, Odell Beckham, he's just not making those big plays, and he's almost pushing. He's trying too hard every time he gets the ball because I guess he knows that it's not going to be there often. So I'm a little concerned there. On the other side, Slap Sauce, look, I'm going to be very clear. I'm not too sure this is a playoff team. I am not sure. Drew Brees, he relies so heavily on him. I am concerned that this may not be a playoff team, but we shall see. What do you got?
I'm going to be real quick on this one. I'm really scratching on my head on why Slap Sauce decided to play Sammy Watkins when you have Corey Davis. And correct me if I'm wrong, Corey Davis actually has had some decent numbers. And then also Sterling Shepard as well. I mean, I know Sterling Shepard has been inconsistent, but he's been a hell of a lot more consistent than Sammy Watkins. So
well, Watkins actually has been really good this year. Corey Davis, prior to this game, was averaging about 4 points a game.
Okay, fair enough. So you can make an argument with that. But then talk to me on why you have Kenyon Drake there.
That's true.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, this is just I'm looking at it and I'm like, you could have made better decisions. And I agree with you. I think the roster at the end of the day is not good enough. He's gonna have to make a move and he's gonna have to coach better. I mean, simple. That's it. Anthony.
I mean, even if Drew Brees had a Drew Brees type of game, and Golden Tate had an excellent game. I mean, one from Drake, 0 from Watkins. Saints defense is okay. Travis Kelce does what he's supposed to do, but get nothing from Juju. Jordan Howard was a non-factor in the game. And on the opposite side, I mean, outside of Gostkowski and Odell Beckham, which you're not expecting to get single digits, every single person was in double digits. This team's been a monster. They're going to continue to keep doing whatever they're doing. I would not worry about Odell Beckham too much. I would not worry about Antonio Brown too much. I think you get those guys because you know and you're aware what they are, what they're going to do, and even though they're not showing up now, we're just going just by law of averages. They're going to get in the end zone. I mean, Brown didn't have a great game, but he did get into the end zone. Beckham might be pressing, but I think it's part of the Giants' offense. They need to just find a way to get him the ball more. I understand sometimes you got to force it into him, but he's your playmaker. He makes things happen, trying to get it done. There's not much more to say. It was a terrific game. It's 128-71. It kind of speaks for itself. Now we can move on to what we in the AGS might
We got 2 games. Don't we have 2 games left, though?
No, man. This is it.
What about the thirst traps? We didn't touch the thirst traps game.
Okay, let's browse through them, too.
I'm just saying, that was a really good game. It was a 1-point game.
I know, it's like Christmas. I really want to open this present.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. This game came all the way down to Monday night, so we got to show some love to it.
We do. We do have to show some love. So the game we're referencing, Florida Thirst Traps, putting up a $1.07, but it was the McCoon handling Goat Engines putting a $1.08 by 1 point. 1 point. Yes, and there were no stat corrections. That is correct. So both of these teams are 2-2. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Jesus?
All right. So yeah, I actually think, you look at the trade that Gabe did just before kickoff, where he traded Roland Jones for Rashad Penny, because there was concern that Carson wouldn't play. On the face of it, you're saying, wow, that's a really good trade by Gabe. Wow, he really, he got over on Jesus on that one. Here's the problem with it, especially when you found out Carson wasn't going to play. The problem with that was Carson didn't play. So then he said, I'm going to plug in Penny. Had he not done that trade, he would have ended up putting in Dion Lewis in the game. He puts in Dion Lewis in the game. He wins the game. By 1 point. But because he did that trade, which looked genius, he actually hurt himself, which is crazy because anybody in their right mind would have done that trade. And it just didn't work out in his favor. On the other side, Rich, look, Deshaun Watson, we said it before, maybe not great NFL-wise, but he's just getting it done in fantasy. He's back to the Deshaun Watson that he was last year fantasy-wise. Will Fuller, poor guy, he just can't catch a break staying healthy with that hamstring.
I know.
But George Kittle, Philip Lindsay, those guys did their thing. Leonard Fournette. Oh my goodness, I'm so done with that guy. I'm so done. But yeah, Gabe didn't deserve to lose, but at the same time, neither did McPoon. So somebody had to win. So good job, McPoon. Gabe, hang in there, man.
Yeah, yeah, I'll be quick. Honestly, McPoon Handler has a headache to deal with because Amari Cooper actually showed life, and this is what's so annoying about both Amari Cooper and then Leonard Fournette is you just don't know what you're gonna get. Luckily, to your point, it worked out for him. He squeaked it out. I mean, there's really nothing else Gabe could have done from a coaching standpoint. I mean, you're really nitpicking if you look at what he could have plugged in otherwise. But yeah, man, it's going to be a nightmare for McPoon to handle that coaching.
Yep.
Anthony.
I mean, when a game gets this tight, you don't really complain about, what coulda, shoulda, would have happened. I think you just got to tip your hat to both gentlemen because overall, it's just a terrific effort by both. It's one of those games, like you said, when it's that tight, no one really deserved to lose, but it just comes down to little small matchups. I mean, Matt Ryan had a terrific game, and so did Deshaun Watson. I mean, the difference there is literally 1 point. Fournette gets hurt, but Penny doesn't do anything. The difference there is 1 point. It's literally a law of averages. Breida gets 6, Coleman gets 7, and these little sways. Hyde 14, Lindsey 13. That's how tight it was. There wasn't a big gap with his role players, his star players on either side. Gabe is nothing to feel ashamed about. I think it's a terrific effort. I think even with Aguilar only getting you 2, you still roll him out there. I think he's still a terrific talent. I think Carson wants to come around and he'll get back involved in the offense. He has a couple bad drops. We'll see how it goes. On the opposite side, again, the whole problem with Will Fuller, the fast guys and hamstrings is kind of a problem. Leonard Fournette has always been an injury issue, but you're still covered with guys like Yeldon. You're still covered with guys like Freeman, so there's nothing to worry about there. I think this terrific matchup. I think it all worked out in the end. Like I said, even though one team had to win and one team had to lose, obviously, you're both 2-2. You're both second in the West, so there's still a lot of ground to gain, so nothing to worry about here. Try to come back stronger this week.
All right, Anthony, you kick it off. You wanted to open your present.
Absolutely. Okay.
Oh, boy. Dennis, tune out. Go ahead and tune out on this one.
Not the game of the week, but it became the game of the week. Okay, I'm looking at my clock. It's 7:53, so I'm going to try to keep it under 3 minutes. Now, we're all in it. We're all texting. We're all talking, and one thing I mentioned the week before is that it's a weird matchup to have all his main guys, basically going on one night. Extremely strange. Just don't see it happening often. And I said, if guys show up, he probably wins. If guys show up, don't show up, he probably loses. Cool. First night, golf 50. Gurley, 21. Let's see. Woods, 16. Cook only has 2. Defense only has 6. I mean, that's with them giving up 38 points. Now, I think, what was it? By Sunday, he had a 95-point lead. Steve's dead. Steve doesn't exist. It's over. Come on. Be honest. It's over. Just start throwing dirt on top of the grave. It's done. Cool. The only thing that could save him if somehow Andrew Luck, who has not been Andrew Luck the entire season, if he all of a sudden just decides to go and say, in Jesus text, you know who might save you? Kareem Hunt. Let's go back to that. Luck throws up 45. It's been a while since Andrew Luck has looked like Andrew Luck, but he put up 45. And the hilarious thing is that Hilton gets 11, but Hilton gets hurt. I think in the second quarter.
Yep.
I'm like, oh man, this sucks. He really need that connection. Nope. Still keeps scoring. Barkley does not have a great game, but he gets into the end zone. Great. Mike Evans, dull game. Okay. Still not enough to save him in my mind. Then all of a sudden, Jared Cook turns into some combination of Gronk and Kelsey and McDonald all in one. He gets 23. Galladay does okay. He does okay. I'm like, okay, it's still tight, but he's still down a lot. And it's only one guy going Monday. And it's Kareem Hunt. And that offense spreads it around all over the place. No way he explodes. Somehow, some way, this guy gets 23. And I go to sleep, and then I wake up. I'm like, okay, let me check. I look at the score nah. I literally close the app, turn off my phone, turn it back on to reboot it, make sure it wasn't like a virus or something. It was the same. I said, oh my God, he pulled this out. I can't believe this. And that's after Ridley going crazy again, with Trey Burton getting the job done. Look, Dennis, I understand you're frustrated. I would be mad too. But 134 points are 134 points. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Because it's like the lotto. It's like those 1 in a million chances, and it happened to you. It's okay. It's okay. And I'm saying this with this gigantic smile on my face. But I have to give all props to Tampa Empire because I've never seen anything like that in fantasy football history. But one of you two gentlemen pick up from here because I'm going to start laughing, and I don't want to embarrass the guys.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, man. All right. My emotions were I honestly didn't want to respond because Jesus and Anthony were texting all night like, damn, another one against Steve. Damn, Steve must be, damn. And I mean, I'm just like sitting there and I'm like, you gotta be, you know what? Now, I'm not going to say expletive, but I was thinking expletive things. All right. And I'm like, this guy, I knew, like, honestly, in the depths of my soul, I had a feeling that come today, we would have a special guest joining us. And next thing you know, it's this guy saying, what's wrong, buddy? What happened? Talking all this smack like we did last year when he won the division and the year before that, or, you know. And so I was expecting it. And mainly going into Sunday, I was like, I just want to put him through sweat. I literally texted Jesus that. I was like, you know what? If I can just make the man sweat and think and have him think that he could potentially lose the game, that'll be just enough oomph to get me going, right? That's literally what I texted Jesus, and Jesus can vouch for that. Yeah, and then Sunday happens. And I'm like, holy crap, I may actually pull this off. And then what in the game balls, I mean, let's be real. The game balls go to Jared Cook because he would never do that again. And the game ball goes to Andrew Luck for all of a sudden balling out. I mean, I could expect 23 from Kareem Hunt. I know he was due. I mean, he was due. And the fact that I had him on Monday night, I even was not overly confident. I think I even told you, Jesus, I was like, you know, even if I lose, I'm still winning, right?
Yes, you
like
did say
that was my outlook on it. But yeah, man, greatest upset being down 95 points and coming back. Bro, I popped champagne that night. I never drank so much in my life. That's it for me, man. Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was watching the games, and I'm thinking, man, Steve just got smacked after Thursday, and I'm like, I looked horrible because I talked all the show about how you never want to have all your guys in one game, and then it all worked out. But then a miracle happened, and that miracle starts with the Luck, luck. And I apologize to you, Mr. Luck, because this is the Andrew Luck that Steve envisioned having years ago when he decided to draft him and use him as a keeper and, you know, really, really take it to the next level. So I want to go ahead, Steve, and I want to say you hung in there with him. I was done with him. I said, you know what? He don't got an arm strength. Not only did he put up 45 points, he also threw a 60-yard pass beautifully. It wasn't a catch, but it was still a beautiful throw. So it's just overall, he looks like he's there. You got Saquon Barkley, which I don't give you credit, Steve. I give that to Anthony. I'm just kidding, by the way. You told him to get him. But, Saquon Barkley did his thing. Jared Cook's just been phenomenal this year, man. It's shocking, but he's been really, really good. And then on the other side, Dennis, listen, your quarterback gave you 50 points. 50 points your quarterback gave you. There's nothing to hang your head about. Yes, would you love to see more from Dalvin Cook? Of course. Yes, would you love to see more from your other wide receiver? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, even if you did play Keenan Allen, which Dennis and I were talking about just before kickoff as far as who he should play out of the two because Keenan Allen was dealing with an injury, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered in this case. So he can't be mad at himself. Although I never seen this someone do a knee-jerk reaction like he did immediately after the game this morning. Once the roster's unlocked, he was so disgusted in Demaryius Thomas, he flat out cut him. Now, he could have gotten some really good trade value for him. I think you guys would all agree on that. He could have gotten some really good, but he just didn't even want to see Demaryius Thomas' face. Somebody's going to definitely have him pretty high in the waivers. I probably wouldn't have taken it to that far, but I think that just shows how much that loss stung. It really, really stung him. But we got a lot of stuff to get to, so you know what? Props to you, Steve. You took care of business. You're in first place. Dennis shouldn't be too worried because he's only one game out of a wild card spot right now. Plenty of games left.
Yeah, plenty of games left. Exactly. All right, guys. So let's go to these next couple of games. Let's start off with a 1-3 team versus a 3-1 team. Knock that out real quick. So the Daytona Daunting Ducks 1-3, Tampa's Empire 3-1. Daunting's projected right now to win 91-88 according to ESPN. What say you, Jesus?
I'm actually gonna go here with the upset. Give me the Daytona Daunting Ducks. And the simple reason why I'm going with them here is because Steve is not because he's a better team than Steve, because he's clearly not. But Steve has a lot of buys. Half his team is on a bye week. Number 1 receiver is on a bye. Number 2 receiver is on a bye. So when you're missing those guys, it's kind of hard to overcome. On the other side, I like Tom Brady against the Colts. I really do like that matchup. Connor's gonna be good. He's not gonna be Le'Veon Bell like, but he'll still be good. And then I like what Jarvis Landry's been doing. He's been playing very well this year. So I'm going to go with the Daunting Ducks. I'll be honest. I don't think they score 100 points, but I don't think Tampa's Empire scores 100 points either because Barkley's going against a pretty good defense in Carolina. So I'm actually going to go with the Daunting Ducks in this case.
All right, Anthony.
I'm going to take the Empire for this one simple reason. I don't trust Green Bay's defense. I think Golladay is going to have a really good game, even though, Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson are out. Evans did not perform well last game. Like I said, he's not performing against anybody this week, so that doesn't make much of a difference. Cooper Kupp is a difference maker, I think, with Seattle, especially now losing Earl Thomas, who was at the moment probably one, if not the best, one of the best defenders in the league. Him being out, and it's basically just 4 guys back there. The Legion of Boom is dead. Aaron Jones, I think, is going to get a touchdown this week. The other backs just haven't been working out for him. I think just a good matchup. I think Kareem Hunt against Jacksonville is going to be a tough matchup, but it's not anything I would personally stress about. I think they'll do enough. I think it's a terrific matchup, period. But I think one way or another, he finds his way into the end zone. On the opposite side, I know right now you're rolling with Giovanni Bernard, but I haven't heard anything about Mixon. He may or may not be back this weekend. And the flex options on the bench are kind of iffy. Maybe the best you can throw in there is Alshon Jeffrey, but they're going against Minnesota. I know they haven't been the Minnesota that we've all loved and supported, but I don't know if it's a good matchup. Jay Ajayi, again, he's dealing with a back injury. You're not really worried about what you're going to give him tight end. Jarvis Landry has a tough matchup against Baltimore. Adam Thielen against Philadelphia. I think Philly's going to start coming around. That defense is still there. I know we want to see James Conner and Le'Veon Bell. We know who he's not, but that's pretty obvious. And I think Brady and Luck are going to cancel each other out. I just think for the Empire, there's just better matchups there, so I'm going to go with them this week.
All right. I agree with Anthony. I'm going to go with myself only by slightly. I agree with you, Jesus. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think any of these this matchup won't be 100-plus points this week. However, I do think that I do have a little bit more firepower on my side, even though the matchups are not great, and I'll admit that. I mean, Kareem Hunt against Jacksonville, Cooper Kupp against Seattle. I am going to make a change at defense. I'm not going to have Seattle play against that Rams D. So stay tuned to that. Andrew Luck against New England, I think is going to be good, but it's kind of offset with Tom Brady, so I think it's going to go back and forth. So I do think this game is close. I just think I'm slightly going to pull it off by a point or two. So I picked myself on that one. All right. Next game we have is 2-2 versus a 1-3 team. Dr. Evil 1-3 playing the Florida Thirst Traps 2-2. Anthony, who do you got in this one?
I'm going to go with Dennis. I know the size of the guy, but I really feel bad for him. And I think that Seattle matchup is just juicy. think losing the heart and soul of your team like that just really hurts. Their offense hasn't been impressive, and right now LA just looks fantastic. I think you roll out with Golf, Gurley, and Woods. I think that's definitely terrific. I think Calvin really gets into the end zone again. I think Keenan Allen has an excellent matchup. I'm pretty certain he'll sort out something at tight end. I mean, Howard's only going to be in IR. Burton's on the bye this week, but I'm pretty certain he'll find something out there. That Rams defense is a terrific matchup. Matt Prater is also a good matchup. I mean, on the opposite side, I don't know how much faith he can put in Deion Lewis. Again, Brandon Cook should have some scoring potential, but again, he's going to be getting the ball from Goff, so it's not really going to cancel out much in his favor. Gronk may or may not play this week. Carlos Hyde against Baltimore is a very difficult matchup. Tevin Coleman should do something, but I think that Dr. Evil just has better matchups, even with a little gap in tight end right now. So I'm going to roll with Dr. Evil this week.
All right, Jesus.
I'm gonna go with Dr. Evil as well. I just think Dr. Evil has a better team, better matchups, just overall. I know Florida Thirst Traps are going to plan on moving Matt Ryan this week. That's their goal, is to make a trade and get him, move him to another team. I think this may not be the week they want to do it. If I'm them, I actually play Matt Ryan against Pittsburgh this week. Pittsburgh defense is atrocious. So I want Matt Ryan playing for me if I'm him. But right now he has Cam Newton in his lineup, so I guess that's what he wants to roll with. But even with Matt Ryan, I still don't think he's going to be able to pull this off. You just look at it: Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Keenan Allen. He'll get healthier. Christian McCaffrey off of a bye week. On the others, and then Rams defense against Seattle. On the other side, to be honest with you, if I'm looking at it and I'm being fair and honest, my favorite matchup on that side is his defense. Chargers defense against Oakland. So whenever your best matchup is usually a defense, you usually lose those games. I think he's going to lose this game. And Gabe, you my main man's possum pants, but you're going to lose this handily.
I agree. I'm also going to pick Dr. Evil. I think Dr. Evil's firepower is just, it's going to continue. He's definitely going to break 100 points. Calvin Ridley is the real deal. Todd Gurley is going to get his points. Goff looked amazing. McCaffrey's amazing. I mean, his roster from top to bottom is just really, really good, and I don't see that stopping. On the other side, I mean, he's got Gronk there, who I think is going to play well against Indy. I like Carlos Hyde, but I kind of worry about Nick Chubb now that he kind of blew up for them 4 carries. So maybe you'll start seeing attempts being poached. And then you look at Deion Lewis against Buffalo. I mean, Nelson Aguilar. I just don't like him. So yeah, give me Dr. Evil all day. All right. Next 2-2 versus 1-3 team. We have the McPoon handling Goat Engines. They're 2-2. They're going to be playing Carry On My Wayward Johnson, who is 1-3. I'll go first on this one, gentlemen. I think I'm going to go. This was close, but I think I'm gonna give it to Dom this week. Matt Stafford against Green Bay. I like Kamara. I think he's gonna blow up. AJ Green's gonna do great. Tyreek Hill, it's tough, but Will Fuller's dealing with a hamstring injury, so I don't think Will Fuller's gonna go. And I think, maybe he substitute him for Cooper, but then that's a risk. So either way, it's not really. It's kind of confusing on what McPoon's gonna do. So yeah, I like Peterson there. I think he'll get Carry On Johnson is a great pickup. So I'm gonna go down. Jesus.
I'm gonna go with actually Rich on this one. Reason why I'm going with Rich is because I think Rich has a little slightly better matchups. I like Deshaun Watson better than I do Stafford. So I'm gonna go with that one. Alvin Kamara is Alvin Kamara, so nobody's at that level. With that said, though, with Mark Ingram coming back this week, I do think that's going to, give him a little bit more of a rest at times. So you're not going to see as many carries for Alvin Kamara because they want to obviously keep him healthy throughout the year. So I think that's going to impact slightly, but he's still going to outscore TJ Yeldon. Depending, though, because if Fournette doesn't play, TJ Yeldon is going to be a top 10 running back in fantasy this week. I truly believe that. You got Devontae Adams versus A.J. Green. I think that's really almost a push. Maybe A.J. Green is slightly better, but not by much. I don't like Tyreek Hill against the Jags. I'm actually very concerned with that matchup because if I'm the Jags, I'd probably put Ramsey on him and just say follow him wherever he goes, especially if Watkins doesn't play this week dealing with a hamstring injury. So, yeah, I'm going to go with McPoon. I just think they have just a better matchups this week. Philip Lindsay's going to play well. Breida, if healthy, should play well. I don't like the Jaguars defense against Kansas City, but again, it is what it is. I think they just, it's going to be in the 20s, so that probably means that they won't get them negative points, but they're not going to get them the normal double-digit fantasy points like they would. But give me Rich in this case.
Okay. I'm going to roll with Dom. I think the streak ends. I think even with everything I'm coming back, I think you're going to see Kamar still be on the field. I think they're going to run the dual running back set, with maybe even in the backfield, Kamar maybe in the slot. Tyreek Hill against Jacksonville seems like a tough matchup. I thought they had a very tough matchup Monday, but they did enough to score. They got the job done. It just depends on who's going to be. I understand they have great cornerbacks, but I mean, that guy has world class speed, and give Mahomes enough time, he's going to make something happen. Again, Kerryon Johnson was a terrific pickup. I think Adrian Peterson having a week off, feeling all rested against that New Orleans defense is a terrific matchup. I think on the opposite side, not necessarily certain about Kittle. I'm not necessarily certain about Lindsey. I know that he's been scoring, but we're going to see how everything goes with that matchup. I think TJ Yeldon, I do believe that he'll probably be top 10, top 15 back if Fournette is out, which they're saying right now he is. The extent, they don't know. Watson is a good matchup, but I think that Stafford's going to do wonders against that Green Bay secondary. And for this week, I'm going to roll with Dom. I think he snaps the streak.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Next game then.
That's game.
All right. Next game we have New York Powers playing Jets Suck. New York Powers projected 95. Jets Suck 105. I will actually start with Jesus on this one. Who do you have in this?
I'm going to go with the New York Powers. I think the Powers have a better team. Nothing against Pops, but Pops' team has kind of been up and down, topsy-turvy. Some games good, some games bad, here and there. So I do think they're going to play well. I do think it's going to be a very close game, but I just think overall, Powers are a better overall football team, in my opinion. But it's gonna be close, and I don't think by any means I'm a lock this week. If there's ever a week for me to get up my first loss of the season, this might be the one. But yeah, I'm gonna go with my guys. I think I have bad matchups at quarterback no matter what. Carson Wentz against Minnesota or Patrick Mahomes against Jags. But after seeing what Jared Goff just did to that Minnesota defense, I'm gonna take a chance, and what Josh Allen did the week before, I'm gonna take a chance and roll with Wentz this week.
All right. I'll go next on this one. I actually am picking the upset. I got Pops on this one. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to score more than Wentz. I like Zeke, even though the Zeke and Melvin Gordon most likely a wash, so you can even them out. I agree with you. I'm concerned with Odell Beckham Jr. And if there were ever a time for him to break out, it should be this game. But I get Julio Jones is not Jesus' favorite guy to talk about, but he is playing Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh can't stop a nosebleed. So
Sure.
I like Julio in that matchup. This one's an intriguing one. Stephon Diggs and Geronimo Allison, and I think Allison's actually going to put up some numbers. He's a sneaky play.
Okay.
I think Stephon Diggs will still win the matchup, though, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout as what maybe we would have thought week one.
Sure.
Ertz, I like Ertz against Graham, but it's a slight edge there. This is where it's all going to come down to is really between these two flex positions on where the game is won. It's going to be between Antonio Brown, Sonny Michel, Joe Mixon, Mark Ingram if Mixon goes. And I am picking him assuming that Mixon's going to play. And if he doesn't play, then I probably would change my mind. But I'm assuming Mixon's going to play, and that's why I give the edge and the upset. But it's going to be close. This is going to be a close game. Anthony.
I'm going to roll with the Powers. I understand that there might be some tricky matchups, but you just don't have that kind of talent and worry about the results. I mean, they've been over 100 pretty much every week. I think Diggs is a good matchup. I think Ertz is a good matchup. I understand we're all talking about defenses and so on and so forth. But, I mean, Minnesota has been bad against quarterbacks recently. I understand the idea of sending Mahomes against Jacksonville because that offensive line did not look so great Monday, and then they're going against that Jacksonville defense. I understand switching that out. And, I mean, Mahomes has been on fire, but I get it. I understand that. On the opposite side, I think Rodgers, I think he puts up at least 2 to 3 touchdowns this week. He's going to get a lot more yardage. I think, hopefully, allegedly, one of those goes to Jimmy Graham. I understand the idea of putting Geronimo Allison in, but I would probably, if I'm a betting man, I would probably roll with Tyler Boyd. He's just been doing great lately. John Ross is hurt again. That offense has looked really spectacular lately. Dalton really has things moving. I mean, if you're going to start two guys, I'd rather start Mixon, and I would start Boyd more than anything else than Allison and Graham. I just don't have that much faith in Allison as of yet. Having Mark Ingram back, I think, is going to be helpful. But again, he's coming back off those 4 weeks. You're coming back. You're going to be rusty, and you're going against a Monday night game against Washington. Those defenses, they're pretty decent. So I think there are some intriguing matchups. But I think Antonio Brown against Atlanta, they've been in shootouts all year. I don't see that changing at all. I think Beckham is really going to start getting things going. I understand the Carolina pass rush is good. I'm not so concerned about their cornerbacks against one of the best wide receivers in the league. Sonny Michel did show up, and even though it's a short week, I think he's still going to get the touches and the volume. So for this week, let's roll with the Powers.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Let's do the game of the week. Game of the week is going to be 2-2 teams. Winner of this will be in most likely second place in the division. So one step closer, which is why we picked this game. And let's be honest, there's a little bit of oomph in this game. So you have Slap Sauce 2-2 against a slightly punty vibe. And I'm gonna throw this out to Anthony first. Who do you got in this one, my man?
I'm picking myself because I like the little cute text messages we get every Monday from Sean. Like when he wins, like, hey, thanks for playing. Hey, thanks for playing. All right, Sean, thanks for playing this week. Take this L and go home with it.
Ooh.
I think
Damn.
Drew Brees is going to do Drew Brees things, but I think to balance him out with Phillip Rivers. David Johnson's getting more involved in that offense, so I think he's starting to look more like himself. I don't trust King Drake against that Cincinnati defense. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think it's a good matchup. I think they're going to start getting Antonio Brown a lot more involved in it. He's been upset. I think it's going to start swinging his way. But again, I still got Hopkins. And I think Michael Thomas doesn't have the week he had last week. I think with Jack Doyle still being out, Eric Ebron is still a good matchup. I think Mike Williams against that Oakland secondary is going to do a good job. I don't like Dallas's offense, so I think I'm going to roll with the Texans defense. Because the Saints defense against Washington, I mean, the Saints really haven't been able to stop anybody. I mean, you can't really say anything about the Giants' offense because it sucks. I wonder how much faith they're going to put in Corey Davis. He did have a terrific game last week, but he hasn't been the most consistent guy recently. I mean, last week he had 22, but before they was 6-5-3. Maybe get excited about a good game, maybe not. Who knows? Maybe slide in Josh Gordon, maybe you don't. But I think this week it just have better matchups. We'll see what we're going to do about Lamar Miller, but just generally the talent overall, I think slightly punty vibe is going to pull this one out this week. Now, Jesus, what do you think?
Well, I already told you my pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with you, of course, man. I'm going to go with you. Why wouldn't I go with you? Because you have the better team. No disrespect to Slap Sauce, but Kenyon Drake has been basura. Yeah, disgusting. So I'm concerned there. I do like Sterling Shepard, though. Without Evan Ingram there, Sterling Shepard gets a lot of looks. So I do think he's going to play well. Golden Tate, guess what? He just had his good game last week. It's not happening back-to-back weeks, bro. It just that's not the way Golden Tate rolls. I remember him back to I think his Seattle days. This is just
Seattle.
how
yes,
he
sir.
is. So yeah, it's not gonna happen again this week. On the other side again, David Johnson, for as bad as he's played, he's still been really good. So I mean, I just think he's only gonna get better each week, especially with Rosen at quarterback. I like Rivers, like I said. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be perfectly fine. Thomas is probably going to get like 30 targets this game since he struggled against the Giants. And yeah, I don't like your flex positions. I Mike Williams I do like, but I'm not a fan of Miller. Some weeks he's good, some weeks he's not. Maybe this is as good a week. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you. I do think though, Anthony, I do think it's time for you to consider making a move for a tight end, and I do think that move is via Gabe. I don't know why you haven't called him and placed a call and asked him about Kyle Rudolph. That's your guy. That's always been your guy. Kyle Rudolph on your team right now would look so good, would be so helpful to hold you down until Evan Ingram is back. And I don't think it's going to cost you too much either to get that. That's just my opinion. But either which way, I do think you win this game, and I think you actually win it pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm also going with Anthony. I mean, he does have by far the better team. And really, from a roster construction, I'm not as worried as you are, Jesus, because at the end of the day, Hopkins and Thomas erase a lot. And then the fact that you have Johnson, who's you just said, who's not at his peak, who's only going to get better. Between those three, they're gonna wipe out a lot, right? Okay. Phillip Rivers is still going to be the man. Ebron is the number 4 tight end, so I don't know why you're suggesting that. I'll be very, very honest. Maybe you think Jack Doyle is going to be in the picture and steal some targets. I don't see it.
He's, because if you just look at his week-to-week performance, 11, 8, 3, 10, I think that there's going to be the games where he's not going to get them. And I think with the team that he has at the flex position, he needs one more consistent guy to cover his holes at the flex. That's just the reason why. Nothing against Ebron. I don't think Ebron's a bad player, but I think Kyle Rudolph is going to be that more consistent guy for him, in my opinion.
Yeah. I guess. Williams, I have no concern. Williams is going to bounce back. It was an off game. It was a rookie. Like he is talented.
Agreed.
My concern on this roster is simply one name, and that is Lamar Miller. That is the only spot you need to figure out, Anthony. And considering based on a lot of other teams, there are probably a lot of other teams that would call you for Lamar Miller and offer you some high ceiling 2-for-1s that you could probably switch in and out based on matchups. But that's really it. So other than that, a slightly punty vibe all day. Slap sauce, you got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of trading to do. And that's it.
That's it. That's our show. Everybody, just real quick, our records, I know we've been keeping track of it. So Anthony had a really good week last week, went 4-1. Steve and I went 3-2. So the current records stand as is. In first place is myself at 13-7. Steve right behind me at 12-8, and Anthony right behind that at 11-9. So we are all right there neck and neck with our picks.
I like it.
And we had a lot of different picks this week, so we're going to see some movement. Everybody stay safe. Be safe. Yes.
And P.S. Dennis, call me before you cut players, bro.
Yeah, right. You know that ain't happening. Peace.